Imagine hauling a 3-ton block of ice across scorching deserts without any refrigeration. Sounds impossible, right? Back in 1959, a bold experiment grabbed the world's attention. A team set out to transport a giant block of Arctic ice over 5,000 miles. It's the way from Norway to Central Africa without letting it melt. This isn't just a story about cold and heat. It's a story about vision, innovation, and refusing to quit when the odds are against you. Stick around to find out how it was done and why no one believed it could ever work. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story that redefines what's possible.
This journey began in a small Norwegian town called Mo i Rana, the destination, Libreville, a city in Central Africa. But this wasn't a simple delivery. To make it even more difficult, the route included 10 full days across the Sahara Desert, where temperatures soared as high as 122 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt metal, let alone ice. So how did this all begin? In 1958, Radio Luxembourg, one of Europe's most popular stations at the time, issued a wild public challenge. Anyone who could transport a 3-ton ice block from the Arctic to Africa without refrigeration would win a huge prize. They offered 100,000 francs per kilogram of ice. In today's terms, that's about $16,000 per kilogram. If someone could complete the challenge, they'd walk away with nearly $48 million. But there were strict rules. The ice must remain in one piece. It had to travel only by road. And most importantly, no refrigeration allowed. Not surprisingly, nobody was willing to try. It just didn't seem doable. Then came Bjørn Natvik, the managing director of a Norwegian insulation company called Glava Glass Wool. He believed his company's insulation materials could make the impossible possible. For him, this wasn't just about prize money. It was about proving the strength of his product and giving his company global exposure. News quickly spread that someone had accepted the challenge, and the story caught fire. Newspapers across Europe began covering the journey. Natvik and his team started assembling the plan. But just as the project was gaining momentum, Radio Luxembourg got cold feet. Realizing they might actually have to pay out millions, they withdrew the prize offer. Still, Natvik didn't back down. He declared he would finish the challenge anyway. Even without a reward, the attention and credibility it would bring to his company were worth it. The route stretched from Norway through Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Spain, Morocco, and across Algeria's brutal desert, finally ending in Gabon, Central Africa. To pull it off, Natvik built a specialized team, an engineer, 4 drivers, a truck mechanic, and 2 cameramen. They cut the massive ice block into smaller 200-kilogram chunks, then reassembled them inside an insulated container. As word spread, major companies came on board to sponsor the effort. Shell provided fuel, Scania supported the transport. Natvik's company handled the insulation tech. Then the journey began. The truck rolled through Europe and descended into the harsh environment of the Sahara. The heat was unrelenting. The terrain was unforgiving, but mile after mile, the team kept going. Every stop meant checking the insulation. Every delay threatened the mission. Yet they pushed forward, committed to the goal. After 28 grueling days, the truck finally arrived in Libreville. The ice block was still intact. They had done it. No refrigeration, no shortcuts, just engineering, determination, and belief in a crazy idea. They didn't win the prize money, but they won something far more lasting, proof that impossible challenges can be overcome with innovation and grit. The mission began with freezing 200 kilograms chunks of glacier ice, transported from the mountains and refrozen into one massive 350 kilograms block. This ice block was sealed inside a specially designed container, insulated with an advanced material called glass wool. Once everything was secure, the truck carrying the precious cargo hit the road on February 22, 1959. At first, things went smoothly. The roads were good, the weather was cool, and people in every city the truck passed through came out to cheer. Word had spread around the world about this unique experiment, and the truck crew were welcomed like celebrities. As they reached Paris, the excitement grew even more. The city's mayor even invited the crew to a formal dinner, and local police provided special escorts to guide the truck through crowded streets. After about a week of travel, the truck reached the port city of Marseille. From there, it was loaded onto a ship to cross the Mediterranean Sea, but once they arrived in Africa, everything changed. The weather turned brutal. Daytime temperatures soared, and now the ice wasn't just at risk of melting, the truck itself began overheating on the scorching desert roads. The heat was so intense, it posed a serious threat to both the crew and the mission. To make things worse, they were passing through regions affected by conflict. Local freedom fighters hid in the mountains, and there was real fear that the truck could be hijacked or the crew taken hostage. French Foreign Legion troops provided military protection in certain high-risk zones and gave the crew strict instructions to avoid stopping for too long. But there was another big problem. There were no real roads. The desert sand kept trapping the truck, forcing the crew to spend hours digging it out again and again. The further they pushed into the desert, the harder things got. Each day tested their endurance, patience, and hope. In the middle of this struggle, the worst started to happen. The ice began to melt. The crew, desperate to keep the mission going, even shared the melted water with passing animals in the desert, making it quite possibly the most expensive water ever poured into a bucket. They slept in sleeping bags on the sand, exhausted but determined. Slowly, painfully, they kept moving forward, one stretch at a time. And finally, after weeks of battling heat, war zones, and endless dunes, they emerged from the desert. Their destination was now in sight. 28 days after the journey began, the truck reached its final stop, Libreville. There, a massive crowd had gathered. But one question hung in the air: how much of the ice block had survived? When they opened the container, people were stunned. The ice block that started at 3,050 kilograms had only lost 336 kilograms. That means more than 2,700 kilograms of solid ice made it through one of the toughest climate tests on Earth intact. Although the company behind the challenge never received a cash reward, the stunt was a complete success. People in Gabon, many of whom had never seen ice before, were amazed, and the company's sales skyrocketed. Their insulation material, now known globally, became a trusted name in the industry. What started as a publicity stunt turned into a story of determination, innovation, and sheer willpower. It wasn't just a frozen block of water, it was a symbol of what's possible when you dare to challenge the odds. If you found this journey inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible true stories. Tell us in the comments, would you take on a challenge like this? See you in the next video.